First contact. The gentle hum of the alien ship's engines faded as it touched down in Dr. Elias Vance's sprawling backyard. At 45, the reclusive xenobiologist had long ago traded the bustle of academia for the solitude of his countryside estate. He watched from his study window, heart racing with a mix of scientific curiosity and apprehension. The ship's sleek, pearlescent hull gleamed in the afternoon sun. A hatch slid open with a soft hiss, and a figure emerged. Elias squinted, taking in the alien's form. Humanoid, yet unmistakably otherworldly. Its skin shimmered with an iridescent blue hue, and what appeared to be tendrils flowed from its head like living hair. Elias took a deep breath, straightened his wrinkled shirt, and made his way to the back door. He'd agreed to this arrangement, hosting an alien exchange worker, but the reality of it was far more daunting than he'd anticipated. As he stepped onto the porch, the alien approached. Its movements were fluid, almost hypnotic. Large, almond-shaped eyes of swirling silver met his gaze. "Greetings, Dr. Elias Vance," the alien said, its voice melodic and androgynous. "I am Zara, sent by the Interstellar Cultural Exchange Program to serve as your domestic assistant and cultural liaison." Elias cleared his throat. "Welcome, Zara. I hope your journey was pleasant." Zara tilted its head, the tendrils shifting like underwater plants. "The concept of pleasant is still new to me, but I believe the trip met all necessary parameters." An awkward silence fell between them. Elias gestured towards the house. "Well, come in, I'll show you around." As they entered, Elias couldn't help but notice the way Zara's gaze darted about, taking in every detail of the cluttered living room. Books and scientific instruments littered every surface. "Your dwelling contains many objects," Zara observed. "Are they all necessary for human survival?" Elias chuckled despite himself. "Not exactly. Humans tend to accumulate things, some for usefulness, others for sentimental value." Zara's tendrils rippled in what Elias assumed was curiosity. Sentiment. Another concept I hope to understand during my time here. As Elias led Zara through the house, explaining the functions of various rooms and appliances, he found himself relaxing slightly. The alien's questions, while sometimes amusingly basic, were asked with genuine interest. "And this," Elias said, opening a door, "will be your room." Zara peered inside, its silver eyes widening. "A private sleeping chamber. How isolating." Elias frowned. "Don't your people have personal spaces?" "We sleep in communal pods," Zara explained. "Isolation is uncomfortable for my species." Elias ran a hand through his graying hair. "I see. Well, we can figure something out if you prefer a different arrangement. For now, though, this is where you can keep your belongings and have some privacy." Zara's tendrils swayed gently. Privacy. Another human concept to explore. As the tour concluded, they found themselves back in the living room. Elias settled into his favorite armchair, while Zara perched somewhat awkwardly on the edge of the sofa. "So," Elias began, "what exactly are your duties supposed to be here?" Zara's skin shimmed slightly, its color deepening. "I am to assist with domestic tasks, learn about human culture, and share knowledge of my own people. However, the specifics were left rather vague." Elias nodded thoughtfully. "I suppose we'll figure it out as we go along. I'm not used to having help around the house, to be honest. I've been on my own for a while." Something in his tone must have registered with Zara, whose tendrils drooped slightly. "You have experienced loss," it stated, not a question but an observation. Elias felt a familiar pang in his chest. "My wife, Zara, she passed away 3 years ago. Cancer." Zara was silent for a moment, its silver eyes swirling. "I do not fully understand the human experience of grief, but I sense it causes you pain. In my culture, we would offer to share the burden of such emotions." Before Elias could respond, Zara gracefully rose and moved to stand before him. It extended a hand, palm up, the skin there shimmering with bioluminescent patterns. May I? Zara asked softly. Hesitantly, Elias placed his hand in Zara's. The alien's skin was cool and smooth, almost silky. As their palms touched, Elias gasped. A sensation like a gentle electric current flowed between them, and he felt a wave of something. Not quite emotion, but a sense of connection, of shared existence. After a few moments, Zara withdrew its hand. Elias blinked, feeling oddly lightheaded but somehow lighter. What? What was that? He asked, his scientific curiosity piqued. Zara's tendrils rippled. A simple empathic connection. My people use it to foster understanding and community. I hope it provided some small comfort. Elias nodded, still processing the experience. It was, thank you, Zara, that was remarkable. A comfortable silence fell between them, broken only when Elias's stomach growled loudly. He chuckled, embarrassed. I suppose I should show you the kitchen. I'm not much of a cook, I'm afraid. Zara tilted its head. Cooking. The application of heat to organic matter for consumption, correct? I have studied this concept. Perhaps I could attempt to prepare a meal. Elias raised an eyebrow. You want to cook? Are you sure? Zara's skin rippled with what Elias was beginning to recognize as excitement. I am eager to practice human customs. And you must eat. It seems a logical solution. With a shrug, Elias led Zara to the kitchen. What followed was equal parts comical and fascinating. Zara approached cooking with the methodical precision of a scientist, carefully measuring ingredients and following recipe instructions to the letter. However, its unfamiliarity with human kitchen tools led to several near disasters. No, Zara, don't put the metal bowl in the micro. Oh dear. Elias cringed as sparks flew inside the microwave. He quickly unplugged it, waving away the acrid smoke. Zara's tendrils drooped. I have made an error. I apologize, Dr. Vance. Elias couldn't help but laugh. It's all right. And please call me Elias. We're housemates now, after all. As they worked together to salvage what they could of the meal, Elias found himself enjoying Zara's company. The alien's genuine curiosity and eagerness to learn were refreshing. For the first time in years, the house felt alive with conversation and shared discovery. Finally, they sat down to a slightly overcooked but edible pasta dish. Elias watched in amusement as Zara attempted to twirl spaghetti around a fork, its tendrils twitching in concentration. So, Zara, Elias said between bites, tell me about your world. What made you want to come to Earth? Zara set down its fork, its silver eyes swirling thoughtfully. My people, the Nixari, have long been observers of other species. We value knowledge and understanding above all else. But in recent cycles, some of us have begun to question whether mere observation is enough. We seek to truly experience other cultures, to understand them not just intellectually, but emotionally. Elias leaned forward, fascinated. And that's why you're here, to experience human emotions. Zara's skin shimmered. In part, yes. Humans are particularly intriguing to us. Your capacity for individual emotion, for creativity and illogical action, it is both perplexing and compelling. Illogical action, Elias chuckled. I suppose we can be pretty irrational at times. Zara's tendrils rippled in what Elias was beginning to recognize as amusement. Indeed, take this meal, for instance. The nutritional value could have been achieved much more efficiently. Yet you derive pleasure from the process of preparation and consumption. It is fascinating. As they continued to talk, Elias found himself opening up in a way he hadn't in years. He told Zara about his work in xenobiology, his dreams of making groundbreaking discoveries. In turn, Zara shared insights about Nixari culture that left Elias's mind reeling with possibilities. As night fell, Elias showed Zara to its room once more. Will you be comfortable here? I can try to arrange something more, communal if you'd prefer. Zara's tendrils swayed gently. I appreciate your concern, Elias. While the concept of a private sleeping space is foreign to me, I am here to learn. I will adapt. Elias nodded, suddenly feeling awkward. Well, good night then, Zara. Sleep well. Or do your people sleep? We enter a regenerative state similar to your sleep, Zara explained, though without the phenomenon you call dreaming. Good night, Elias. Thank you for your hospitality. As Elias lay in bed that night, his mind raced with the day's events. The presence of an alien in his home should have been terrifying, yet he found himself oddly comforted. Zara's gentle curiosity and willingness to learn had sparked something in him, a renewed sense of wonder he thought he'd lost. He drifted off to sleep, his dreams filled with shimmering blue skin and swirling silver eyes. The next morning, Elias awoke to strange sounds coming from the kitchen. He hurried downstairs, half expecting to find it in chaos. Instead, he was greeted by the sight of Zara carefully flipping pancakes, its tendrils holding various utensils with surprising dexterity. "Good morning, Elias," Zara said, its skin rippling with what seemed like pride. "I have been studying human breakfast customs. I hope this is acceptable." Elias stood there, mouth agape, taking in the scene. The kitchen was spotless, the table set with careful precision. A stack of golden pancakes sat steaming on a plate. "Zara, this is incredible," he managed. "How did you learn to do all this overnight?" The alien's tendrils rippled. "I accessed your digital information network, the Internet, I believe you call it. It contains a wealth of knowledge on human customs, most fascinating." As they sat down to eat, Elias couldn't help but marvel at how quickly things were changing. Just yesterday, he'd been a recluse, cut off from the world. Now he was sharing breakfast with an alien eager to learn about humanity. "You know, Zara," he said between bites of perfectly fluffy pancake, "I think this arrangement might work out after all." Zara's silver eyes swirled, its skin shimmering with what Elias was beginning to recognize as happiness. "I am pleased to hear that, Elias. I believe we have much to learn from each other." As the morning sun streamed through the windows, Elias felt a spark of something he hadn't experienced in years: hope. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he was ready to face them with his curious alien companion by his side. Cosmic connections. As weeks passed, the unlikely pair of Dr. Elias Vance and Zara, the Nixari alien, fell into a rhythm that defied conventional expectations. Their days were filled with cultural exchanges that ranged from profound to comical, each interaction bridging the vast gulf between their species. One crisp autumn morning, Elias found Zara in the backyard, tendrils swaying in the breeze as it stared intently at a cluster of flowers. "Fascinating," Zara murmured. "These organisms exchange genetic material through other life forms. How wonderfully inefficient." Elias chuckled, kneeling beside the alien. "We call it pollination. Not everything in nature is about pure efficiency, Zara. Sometimes beauty is its own purpose." Zara's silver eyes swirled thoughtfully. Beauty. A concept my people struggle to quantify. Yet, I find myself drawn to these vibrant structures. As they worked together in the garden, Elias explaining the intricacies of Earth's ecosystem, he realized how much he'd missed teaching. Zara's insatiable curiosity and unique perspective challenged him to see his world anew. Later that evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Zara turned to Elias with an unusual request. "Elias, I wish to understand more about human physical interactions. My research indicates that hugs are common expressions of affection or comfort. Would you be willing to demonstrate?" Elias felt his cheeks flush. Physical contact with others had become foreign to him since Zara's passing. Yet, looking at Zara's earnest expression, he found himself nodding. "All right," he said, standing awkwardly. "It's pretty simple. You just put your arms around the other person like this." As he embraced Zara, Elias was struck by the alien's unique physiology. Zara's skin was cool and smooth, with a subtle vibration that reminded him of a purring cat. The tendrils on Zara's head gently curled around his shoulders, creating an oddly comforting cocoon. "Oh," Zara breathed, its voice filled with wonder. "I believe I understand now. This is most agreeable. As they separated, Elias felt a warmth in his chest he hadn't experienced in years. He cleared his throat, suddenly self-conscious. Yes, well, hugs can be quite nice. Humans use them to show care, to comfort, or sometimes just to say hello. Zora's skin shimmered with excitement. Fascinating. The exchange of physical comfort seems to have physiological benefits. Your heart rate increased, and I detected a release of oxytocin in your system. Most efficient. Elias couldn't help but laugh. Leave it to Zora to analyze a hug in scientific terms. Yet, he had to admit, the alien wasn't wrong. He did feel better, more connected. As days turned to weeks, Elias found himself opening up more, sharing stories of his life, his work, and even his loss. Zora listened with rapt attention, occasionally offering insights that, while alien, often held profound wisdom. One rainy afternoon, as they sat in the study poring over Elias's research notes, Zora posed a question that caught him off guard. Elias, why do humans create art? It seems to serve no practical purpose, yet you dedicate significant resources to it. Elias leaned back in his chair, considering. That's a complex question, Zora. Art it's a way for us to express emotions, to capture beauty, to make sense of our world. Sometimes, it's simply about creating something that brings joy or provokes thought. Zora's tendrils rippled with curiosity. But how does one determine the value of art? It appears highly subjective. That's part of what makes it special, Elias explained. Art speaks to us on an individual level. What moves me might not affect you the same way. Here, let me show you something. He led Zora to a small room he rarely entered. Inside, canvases lined the walls. Zora's paintings, untouched since her passing. Elias felt a lump form in his throat as he gestured to a vibrant landscape. My wife painted these. This one, it's of the view from where we first met. To anyone else, it might just be a pretty scene. But to me, it holds memories, emotions, a piece of her. Zora studied the painting intently, its silver eyes swirling with concentration. After a long moment, it turned to Elias, reaching out to gently touch his arm. I believe I understand, Elias. The pigments and textures serve as a conduit for memory and emotion. It is beautiful. Elias blinked back tears, surprised by the depth of Zora's understanding. Yes, that's it exactly. Inspired by this exchange, Zora began to explore artistic expression. Its first attempts were amusingly literal, precise recreations of objects or scenes. But as days passed, Zora's art evolved, becoming more abstract, more emotive. One morning, Elias awoke to find the living room transformed. Shimmering, ethereal structures hung from the ceiling, pulsing gently with bioluminescent light. Zora stood in the center, tendrils weaving intricate patterns in the air. Zora, what is all this? Elias asked, awestruck. The alien's skin rippled with what Elias now recognized as a mix of excitement and nervousness. I attempted to create art, Elias, to capture the essence of my experiences here. Is it acceptable? Elias moved through the room, marveling at the delicate constructions. Each piece seemed to evoke a different emotion or memory: the warmth of their first hug, the wonder of discovering Earth's nature, the bittersweetness of sharing stories of sorrow. Zora, this is incredible, Elias breathed. I've never seen anything like it. Zora's tendrils curled with pleasure. I am gratified that you find it pleasing. Creating it was a most unusual experience. I found myself acting on impulses I cannot fully explain. Is this what you call inspiration? Elias nodded, grinning. That's exactly it. You've created something truly unique here, Zora. Something that bridges our two worlds. As they stood together, admiring Zora's artistic creation, Elias felt a shift in their relationship. Zora was no longer just a fascinating alien subject or even a friendly housemate. They had become true companions, each learning and growing through their connection. However, their peaceful coexistence was about to face its first real challenge. Later that week, as Elias checked his emails, he found a message that made his blood run cold. Dr. Vance, we have received reports of unusual activities at your residence involving the alien exchange worker assigned to you. As per protocol, we will be conducting an unscheduled inspection to ensure all interspecies guidelines are being followed. Expect our team within the next 48 hours. Regards, Dr. Amanda Chen, Interspecies Relations Board. Elias's mind raced. While he and Zara had done nothing wrong, he knew how their growing closeness might be perceived. The thought of Zara being reassigned or sent away made his chest tighten with an emotion he wasn't quite ready to name. Zara, he called out, his voice tight with worry. We need to talk. There's something we need to prepare for. As Zara glided into the room, tendrils swaying questioningly, Elias steeled himself. Whatever came next, he knew one thing for certain. He wasn't going to let anyone take Zara away without a fight. The next 48 hours were a whirlwind of preparation and barely contained anxiety. Elias and Zara worked tirelessly to ensure the house was immaculate, all signs of their unique bond carefully concealed. Zara's beautiful art installation was reluctantly dismantled, stored away in the attic. As they waited for the inspection team to arrive, Elias found himself pacing the living room, a knot of tension in his stomach. Zara watched him with swirling silver eyes, its tendrils rippling with concern. Elias, Zara said softly, your distress is palpable. Perhaps I could assist in alleviating it. Before Elias could respond, the alien gently took his hand. That now familiar sensation of empathic connection flowed between them, and Elias felt his anxiety ebb, replaced by a sense of calm determination. Thank you, he murmured, squeezing Zara's hand. Whatever happens, we're in this together. The sound of a car pulling up outside broke the moment. Elias took a deep breath, straightening his shirt. Remember, Zara, we've done nothing wrong. We just need to show them that this arrangement is working as intended. Zara's skin shimmered with what Elias now recognized as resolve. Understood. I shall endeavor to be the model of an efficient, impartial exchange worker. As Elias opened the door, he was met by a stern-faced woman in a crisp suit, flanked by two assistants carrying tablets. Dr. Vance, she said, her tone clipped. I'm Dr. Amanda Chen from the Interspecies Relations Board. We're here to conduct our inspection. Elias forced a smile, stepping back to allow them entry. Of course, Dr. Chen. We've been expecting you. Please come in. As the inspection team moved through the house, scrutinizing every detail and peppering both Elias and Zara with questions, the tension in the air was palpable. Elias found himself hyper-aware of every interaction with Zara, careful not to show the easy familiarity they developed. Dr. Chen's eyes narrowed as she reviewed the logs of Zara's activities. It says here that the alien has been engaging in artistic pursuits. That seems outside the scope of its assigned duties. Elias felt a flash of indignation at hearing Zara referred to as it, but kept his voice level. Art is an important part of human culture, Dr. Chen. I believed it would be valuable for Zara to explore various aspects of human creativity. Zara, standing nearby with perfect posture, added, indeed. My artistic explorations have provided invaluable insights into human emotional expression and cognitive processes. I believe such activities fall well within the parameters of cultural exchange. Dr. Chen made a non-committal noise, tapping something into her tablet. The inspection dragged on, each moment feeling like an eternity to Elias. Finally, after what seemed like hours, Dr. Chen gathered her team in the living room for a final assessment. Dr. Vance, while your methods are unconventional, we found no direct violations of protocol, she said, her tone making it clear this was not necessarily a compliment. However, we will be increasing the frequency of our check-ins to ensure continued compliance. As the inspection team prepared to leave, Dr. Chen paused at the door, fixing Elias with a penetrating stare. Remember, Dr. Vance, the purpose of this program is scientific and cultural exchange, not fraternization. Maintain appropriate boundaries. The moment the door closed behind them, Elias let out a long, shaky breath. Well, that was most uncomfortable, Zara finished, its tendrils drooping slightly. Elias, I fear my presence here may be causing you difficulty. Perhaps it would be best if I... No, Elias cut in, surprising himself with the vehemence in his voice. He took Zora's hands in his own, marveling at how natural the gesture had become. Zora, these past weeks have been the most alive I've felt in years. I don't care what the board thinks. You belong here with me. Zora's skin shimmered, its silver eyes swirling with emotion. Elias, I believe I am experiencing a new emotion. It is most profound. As they stood there, hands clasped, Elias realized he was experiencing something new as well. The warmth in his chest, the lightness in his heart. Feelings he'd thought long buried with sorrow were blossoming anew. I think, he said softly, that what we're both feeling might be the start of something wonderful, Zora, and a little dangerous. Zora's tendrils curled gently around Elias's wrists. Then we shall face that danger together, Elias, for I find that I do not wish to be parted from you. As the sun set outside, casting the room in a warm glow, Elias and Zora stood on the precipice of something greater than either of them had imagined when this journey began. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them side by side. Two beings from different worlds, united by a connection that defied explanation. The story of Dr. Elias Vance and Zora, the curious alien who became so much more, was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. Starbound revelations. The weeks following the inspection brought a new tension to Elias and Zora's life together. The threat of increased scrutiny hung over them like a storm cloud, yet it also served to crystallize their feelings for each other. Their bond, once a gentle current, had become a rushing river, impossible to ignore or contain. One crisp autumn evening, as they sat stargazing in the backyard, Zora turned to Elias with an intensity that made his breath catch. Elias, Zora began, its voice carrying an unfamiliar tremor, I must confess something of great importance. Elias felt his heart race. What is it, Zora? Zora's tendrils twisted anxiously. My presence here, it is not solely for cultural exchange. I am part of a covert mission, one that could alter the course of both our species. The revelation hit Elias like a physical blow. He stood abruptly, mind reeling. You've been lying to me this whole time. Zora's skin pulsed with distress. Not lying, Elias. Omitting. Please, let me explain. As Zora spoke, a tale unfolded that was equal parts thrilling and terrifying. The Nixari, it turned out, were facing a crisis. Their hive mind, once the source of their greatest strength, was slowly breaking down. Individuality, once alien to their species, was emerging sporadically, causing chaos in their perfectly ordered society. Our leaders fear this change, Zora explained, its silver eyes swirling with emotion. They believe that exposure to highly individualistic species like humans might be the cause. I was sent to study you, to find a way to reverse this contamination. Elias sank back onto the bench, processing this information. But you don't agree with them, do you? Zora's tendrils reached out, gently curling around Elias's hand. No. My time here, with you, has shown me the beauty of individual thought and emotion. I believe this evolution could be our salvation, not our downfall. As the full implications of Zora's confession sank in, Elias felt a mix of emotions he couldn't quite untangle. Betrayal warred with understanding, fear with a deepening affection. What happens now? He asked softly. Zora's skin shimmered with resolve. I cannot, in good conscience, continue my original mission. But returning to my people empty-handed could have grave consequences. I find myself at an impasse, Elias. Elias squeezed Zora's hand, marveling at how natural the gesture had become. We'll figure it out together, Zora. Whatever comes next, you're not alone. The days that followed were a whirlwind of clandestine planning and heated debates. Elias threw himself into research, looking for any scientific evidence that might support Zora's belief in the positive potential of Nixari individuality. Late one night, as they pored over data in Elias' cluttered study, a breakthrough came. "Zora, look at this," Elias exclaimed, pointing excitedly at his computer screen. "These patterns in Nixari brain activity, they're remarkably similar to human creativity centers. What if the emergence of individuality is actually unlocking new potential in your species?" Zora's tendrils writhed with excitement. "Elias, this could change everything. If we can prove that individuality enhances rather than diminishes Nixari abilities." Their eyes met, a spark of shared purpose igniting between them. In that moment, their mission crystallized. They would find a way to demonstrate the value of individuality to the Nixari, potentially revolutionizing an entire alien society. But their plans were interrupted by an unexpected visitor. Dr. Amanda Chen from the Interspecies Relations Board arrived unannounced, her face grim. "Dr. Vance," she said without preamble, "we have reason to believe you're engaging in unauthorized research with the alien subject. I'm here to shut it down." Elias felt panic rise in his throat, but Zora stepped forward, its posture radiating calm authority. "Dr. Chen," Zora said, its voice carrying a new resonance, "what's happening here is far more important than you realize. We are on the brink of a discovery that could reshape relations between our species." For the next hour, Elias and Zora laid out their findings, explaining the potential impact on both human and Nixari society. To their surprise, Dr. Chen listened with growing interest. "This is unprecedented," she finally said, her stern demeanor cracking slightly. "If what you're saying is true, it could change everything we thought we knew about alien psychology." A plan began to form. With Dr. Chen's reluctant support, they would present their findings to a joint council of human and Nixari leaders. It was a gamble, but one with the potential to bridge the gap between their species in ways never before imagined. As they prepared for the presentation, working tirelessly to compile their research, Elias and Zora found their bond deepening even further. The shared purpose, the late nights of impassioned discussion, the thrill of discovery, it all served to intertwine their hearts and minds in ways that defied conventional understanding. One night, as they took a brief respite from their work, Zora turned to Elias with an intensity that made his breath catch. "Elias," Zora began, its voice carrying a new depth of emotion, "I find that I must express something. My people do not have a word for it, but I believe humans call it love." Elias felt his heart soar, even as a part of him marveled at the sheer impossibility of their situation. He was falling in love with an alien, one who until recently hadn't even understood the concept of individual emotion. "Zora," he said softly, reaching out to caress its shimmering cheek, "I love you too. Heaven help me, but I do." Their lips met in a kiss that seemed to transcend species, a connection of minds and hearts that defied explanation. As they embraced, Elias felt a tingling sensation spread through his body. Zora's bioluminescence flared, bathing them both in a soft, pulsing light. When they finally parted, both were breathless and a little dazed. What was that?" Elias asked, his scientific curiosity warring with the emotional high. Zora's tendrils curled with what Elias now recognized as a mix of pleasure and surprise. "I believe we just experienced a partial melding of our bioelectrical fields. It's a phenomenon I've only heard theories about, never experienced." Elias chuckled, feeling giddy. "Well, I suppose we're breaking new ground in more ways than one." As the day of the presentation approached, the pressure mounted. They were proposing nothing less than a fundamental shift in how humans and Nixari interacted, with implications that reach far beyond their personal relationship. The night before, as they made final preparations, a sobering thought struck Elias. "Zora," he said quietly, "what happens if this doesn't work? If they reject our findings?" Zora's skin dimmed slightly, its tendrils drooping. "Then I would likely be recalled, possibly reprogrammed, and you, Elias, could face serious consequences for unauthorized alien collaboration." The weight of their situation settled over them like a heavy blanket. Elias pulled Zara close, their foreheads touching. "Whatever happens tomorrow, know that meeting you has been the greatest adventure of my life." Zara's tendrils curled around Elias's neck, a gesture that had become one of deep affection. "And you, Elias, have shown me the true meaning of individuality, of love. No matter the outcome, that gift is eternal." As they held each other under the star-filled sky, both human and alien felt a sense of standing on the brink of something monumental. Tomorrow would bring either a new dawn for interspecies relations or the end of their shared journey. Either way, they would face it together, a union of two beings from different worlds, bound by a love that defied the very laws of nature. The story of Dr. Elias Vance and Zara, the alien who taught him to love again, was about to reach its most critical chapter. And as the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, they steeled themselves for the challenge ahead, ready to fight for a future where their love could exist in the light of day. Cosmic confluence. The day of the presentation dawned bright and clear, a stark contrast to the tumultuous emotions swirling within Elias and Zara. They stood before the imposing doors of the United Earth Nixari Council chamber, a newly established forum for interspecies diplomacy. Elias squeezed Zara's hand, marveling at how natural the gesture had become, ready to change the universe. Zara's skin shimmered with a mix of determination and nervous energy. "With you by my side, Elias, I believe anything is possible." As they entered the chamber, they were met with a sea of faces, human diplomats in crisp suits, Nixari representatives with their shimmering tendrils, and a gallery of press from both worlds. At the center of it all sat the High Counselor of the Nixari, its silver eyes piercing and unreadable. Dr. Chen introduced them, her voice betraying a hint of excitement despite her usual stern demeanor. "Esteemed colleagues, I present Dr. Elias Vance and Zara, here to share groundbreaking findings on Nixari human relations." Elias stepped up to the podium, feeling the weight of countless eyes upon him. He took a deep breath, then launched into their presentation. "Distinguished members of the Council, we stand at a crossroads of cosmic proportions. The emergence of individuality among the Nixari is not a threat, but an opportunity for unprecedented growth and connection between our species." As Elias spoke, holographic displays came to life around the chamber, showcasing their research. Brain scans, behavioral studies, and cultural analyses painted a compelling picture of the positive potential of Nixari individuality. Zara joined him, its voice resonating with passion. "My time on Earth has shown me the beauty of individual thought and emotion. Far from weakening us, it has the power to elevate both our species to new heights of understanding and innovation." The chamber buzzed with murmurs of surprise and intrigue. The High Counselor leaned forward, its tendrils writhing with interest. Suddenly, a disruptive voice cut through the air. "This is nonsense. Humans are corrupting our perfect society." A Nixari diplomat had risen, its skin pulsing angry red. "We cannot allow this contamination to spread." The chamber erupted into chaos, with factions quickly forming on both sides. Elias felt his heart sink, watching their carefully crafted presentation dissolve into a shouting match. But then something unexpected happened. Zara stepped forward, its body beginning to glow with an intense, pulsating light. The chamber fell silent, all eyes drawn to the spectacle. "Esteemed colleagues," Zara's voice rang out, carrying a new resonance that seemed to vibrate in the very air. "Allow me to demonstrate the true potential of our evolution." What followed was unlike anything the assembled diplomats had ever seen. Zara's body became a living canvas of light and color, expressing complex emotions and abstract concepts in ways that transcended language. It was art, science, and pure emotion combined in a display that left everyone breathless. As the light show reached its crescendo, Zara extended its hands towards the audience. "This is the gift of individuality. The ability to create, to feel, to connect in ways our hive mind never allowed. Who among you can deny its beauty?" The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, one by one, the Nixari representatives began to glow, their own bioluminescence responding to Zara's display. It was as if a dam had broken, releasing a flood of long-suppressed individual expression. The High Counselor rose, its silver eyes swirling with emotion. In all my cycles, I have never witnessed such beauty. Perhaps we have been too hasty in our judgment of this evolution. Elias stepped forward, his heart pounding. High Counselor, esteemed members of both our species, what you've witnessed here is just the beginning. Imagine a future where our cultures don't just coexist, but blend and grow together. Where the strengths of both individuality and collective consciousness create something entirely new. The rest of the session was a blur of excited discussion, impromptu demonstrations, and the first tentative steps towards a new era of human-Nixari relations. By the time it was over, Elias felt drained but elated. As they left the chamber, Dr. Chen approached them, a rare smile on her face. Dr. Van Zara, that was unprecedented. You've opened doors we never even knew existed. But their victory celebration was short-lived. As they exited the building, they were met by a group of stern-faced security officers, both human and Nixari. Dr. Elias Vance, Zara of the Nixari, the lead officer said, "You are to come with us immediately. There are complications that must be addressed." Elias felt a chill run down his spine. He looked at Zara, seeing his own mix of fear and determination reflected in its swirling silver eyes. Whatever came next, they would face it together. As they were led away, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that their journey was far from over. In fact, it might be just beginning. The hover transport hummed softly as it carried Elias, Zara, and their security escort through the gleaming cityscape. Tension hung heavy in the air, broken only by the occasional crackle of the officers' communication devices. Elias leaned close to Zara, speaking in a low whisper. "Any idea what this is about?" Zara's tendrils curled anxiously. "I fear our actions may have had unforeseen consequences, Elias. The ripples of change we've set in motion, they may be larger than we anticipated." Their conversation was cut short as the transport came to a stop before an imposing structure, the Interstellar Relations Complex. They were ushered inside, through a maze of high-security corridors, until they reached a room unlike any Elias had seen before. It was a perfect sphere, its walls a shimmering, translucent membrane that seemed to pulse with energy. At the center stood a figure that made both Elias and Zara gasp. It was a being that seemed to flicker between human and Nixari form, its body a swirling mass of light and color. When it spoke, its voice resonated on multiple frequencies simultaneously. "Greetings, catalysts of change," the being said. "I am Synergy, a manifestation of the potential future you have unknowingly unlocked." Elias's scientific mind raced to comprehend what he was seeing. "Are you some kind of hybrid?" Synergy's form shimmered. "In a sense, I am a possibility. A glimpse of what might be if human and Nixari cultures truly merge. Your actions today have created a ripple effect through space-time, opening doors to futures previously unimaginable." Zara stepped forward, its tendrils reaching out as if drawn to Synergy. "This is remarkable. But why have we been brought here?" Synergy's voice took on a grave tone. "Because the future you've set in motion is not without its perils. There are factions on both sides who fear this change, who would see it stopped at any cost. And there are cosmic forces at play beyond your current understanding." The being waved a hand, and suddenly the room was filled with holographic projections, possible timelines branching out in dizzying complexity. "The path forward is fraught with danger," Synergy continued, "but it also holds the potential for greatness beyond measure. You too stand at the fulcrum of this change. Your bond, your love, it is both catalyst and key." Elias felt overwhelmed, the weight of this cosmic responsibility settling on his shoulders. He reached for Zara's hand, finding comfort in its cool touch. "What do you need us to do?" he asked, his voice steadier than he felt. Synergy's form coalesced into something more definitively humanoid. You must become ambassadors of this new future. Travel to worlds beyond. Seek out other species grappling with similar evolutionary leaps. Build a coalition of cultures ready to take the next step in cosmic evolution. Zora's skin pulsed with a mix of excitement and trepidation. But surely there are others more qualified. We are but two beings, in love perhaps, but hardly prepared for such a monumental task. Synergy's laugh was a harmonious chime that seemed to resonate within their very beings. It is precisely your love, your unique bond, that makes you ideal. You are living proof of the beautiful potential when differences are embraced rather than feared. As Synergy spoke, the room around them began to shift and change. The walls became a window to the cosmos, stars and galaxies swirling in breathtaking display. The universe stands at a tipping point, Synergy said, its voice taking on an almost musical quality. Countless civilizations are facing similar crossroads. The choice between stagnation and evolution, between fear and embracing the unknown. You have the power to tip the scales. Elias felt a surge of something he couldn't quite name, a mix of terror and exhilaration, of humility and cosmic purpose. He turned to Zora, seeing the same swirl of emotions reflected in its silver eyes. "What do you say, love?" he asked softly, ready for the greatest adventure in human and Nixari history. Zora's tendrils curled around Elias's arm, its skin shimmering with resolve. "With you, my dear Elias, I would journey to the very edge of existence." They turned back to Synergy, standing tall despite the enormity of what lay before them. "We accept," they said in unison. Synergy's form blazed with light, and the room around them began to dissolve. "Then let your cosmic odyssey begin. Remember, the love you share is not just a personal bond, it is a beacon of hope for the entire universe." As the world faded around them, Elias and Zora clung to each other, their hearts beating as one. They didn't know where this journey would take them, what wonders or terrors they might face. But they knew that together, they could overcome anything. The last thing they heard before reality shifted was Synergy's voice, echoing across dimensions. "The fate of countless worlds now rests in your hands. Go forth and let your love light the way to a new cosmic dawn." And with that, Dr. Elias Vance and Zora, once a simple xenobiologist and an alien housekeeper, was swept away on an adventure beyond their wildest dreams, ambassadors of love and change in a universe teeming with possibility. The story of the human and the alien who dared to love had only just begun, and the cosmos itself waited with bated breath to see what wonders their journey would unveil. Stardust serenade. The cosmic winds whispered around Elias and Zora as they materialized on a world unlike any they had ever seen. The sky shimmered with auroras of impossible colors, while crystalline structures rose from the ground like frozen symphonies. "Welcome to Harmonix Prime," a melodious voice echoed in their minds. A being of pure energy approached, its form rippling like a heat mirage. "I am Lyra, emissary of the resonance. We've long awaited your arrival, catalysts of change." Elias blinked, still adjusting to their new reality. "You knew we were coming." Lyra's form pulsed with amusement. "Your song echoes across the cosmos, a duet of love that transcends species. We resonance exist in harmony with the universe's vibrations. We felt the shift when your hearts first beat as one." Zora's tendrils swayed gently, as if catching an invisible breeze. "Fascinating. Your people seem to perceive reality in a way vastly different from both humans and Nixari." "Indeed," Lyra chimed, "and therein lies our dilemma. Our perfect harmony is being disrupted by discordant notes, individuals who seek to break free from our collective symphony. We hoped you might help us understand this. Evolution." As Lyra led them through the Crystal City, Elias and Zora witnessed a society of breathtaking beauty and complexity. The resonance communicated through intricate melodies, their very bodies vibrating in tune with the world around them. But beneath the surface of this harmonic utopia, they sensed an undercurrent of tension. Occasionally, They'd catch glimpses of resonance moving out of sync, their personal melodies clashing with the greater symphony. These dissenters, Elias asked carefully what happens to them. Lyra's form dimmed slightly. They are realigned, their discordant frequencies adjusted to match the collective once more. It is for the greater harmony. Zara's skin rippled with concern, but at what cost? The beauty we've witnessed here is undeniable, but so is the value of individual expression. Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden cacophony. A group of resonants burst into the square, their bodies pulsing with wild, erratic rhythms. Freedom for the solo voice, they sang, shouted, their individual melodies clashing beautifully. Chaos erupted as other resonants moved to contain the rebels. Elias and Zara found themselves caught in the middle, the very air around them vibrating with conflicting frequencies. In that moment of discord, something extraordinary happened. Elias felt a surge of energy course through him, and suddenly he could see the music. Streams of color and light flowed from every being, intertwining in complex patterns. Without thinking, he reached out and began to weave the streams together. Zara, sensing his intent, joined in, its tendrils dancing through the air like a conductor's baton. Gradually, the chaotic noise began to shift. Individual melodies remained distinct but blended into a new, richer harmony. Rebels and conformists alike fell silent, mesmerized by the emerging symphony. As the last notes faded, Lyra approached, its form shimmering with awe. What was that? Elias smiled, squeezing Zara's hand. That was the power of unity through diversity, each voice unique, yet part of a greater whole. Zara's skin glowed with pride. It seems our journey has already begun to bear fruit. Perhaps this is why Synergy chose us, not to preach, but to demonstrate through our very being. The aftermath of the harmonic revolution, as it came to be known, kept Elias and Zara busy for weeks. They worked tirelessly with both the resonant leadership and the former rebels, helping to forge a new society that celebrated individual expression within a framework of collective harmony. As they prepared to leave Harmonix Prime, a crowd of resonants gathered to bid them farewell. Their bodies shimmered with a new vibrancy, individual melodies weaving together in a symphony more beautiful than ever before. Lyra approached, its form now a constant dance of shifting colors. You have given us a great gift, Catalysts. We thought harmony meant sameness, but you've shown us the power of diversity in unity. Elias smiled, his arm around Zara's shimmering form. We merely helped you find the music that was already within you. As they stepped into the swirling portal that would take them to their next destination, Zara turned to Elias, its silver eyes swirling with emotion. I never imagined love could be a force for such cosmic change. Elias kissed Zara's forehead gently. I think we're only beginning to understand its true power. The portal engulfed them, whisking them away to new adventures. But the melody of Harmonix Prime lingered, a testament to the transformative power of love across the cosmos. Their next destination materialized around them, a world of perpetual twilight, where towering bioluminescent flora cast an ethereal glow over everything. The umbral expanse, Zara breathed, its tendrils reaching out to caress a glowing leaf. I've heard legends of this place. Before Elias could respond, a voice like rustling leaves whispered from the shadows. Welcome, Lightbringers. We've been expecting you. A figure emerged, tall and slender, with bark-like skin and eyes that glowed like fireflies. I am Thorn, guardian of the Sylvan Collective. Your arrival heralds great change for our people. As Thorn led them deeper into the bioluminescent forest, they learned of the Sylvan's unique predicament. For eons, they had lived in perfect symbiosis with their world, their very thoughts and emotions intertwined with the planet's ecosystem. But now, a new generation was being born, Sylvans whose minds were somehow separate, individual. They cannot hear the song of the forest, Thorn explained, sadness evident in their glowing eyes. They are alone. We fear for their safety and for the balance of our world. Elias and Zara exchanged a meaningful look. Once again, they found themselves at the crux of a civilization's evolutionary leap. Over the coming days, they worked closely with both the connected Sylvans and the solo minds, as the younger generation called themselves. It was a delicate balance, preserving the beautiful symbiosis of the collective while nurturing the potential of individual growth. The breakthrough came unexpectedly, during a ritual meant to help the solar minds connect with the forest. As the bioluminescent plants pulsed with energy, Zara's body began to glow in response. Tendrils of light extended from its form, bridging the gap between the disconnected Sylvans and their world. Through Zara, the solar minds experienced the vast consciousness of the forest for the first time, and through them, the collective Sylvans tasted the vibrant intensity of individual thought. When it was over, both groups stood in awe, forever changed by the experience. "You've given us a new path forward," Thorn said, their eyes shimmering with gratitude. Not separation, not forced conformity, but a bridge between worlds. As Elias and Zara prepared to leave the umbral expanse, they felt a sense of growing purpose. Two worlds changed, countless more awaiting their touch. The universe itself seemed to hum with potential. "Where to next, my love?" Zara asked, its skin aglow with excitement. Elias grinned, pulling Zara close. "Wherever the cosmic winds take us, our song is far from over." As they stepped into the next portal, hand in hand, the bioluminescent forest pulsed behind them, a symphony of light bidding farewell to the catalysts of change. Their journey across the stars continued, a love story written in stardust, reshaping the very fabric of the cosmos with each passing moment. The legacy of Dr. Elias Vance and Zara, once a simple xenobiologist and an alien housekeeper, now echoed across galaxies. Their tale of unexpected love had become a beacon of hope for countless civilizations, a living proof that diversity and unity could coexist in beautiful harmony. And somewhere, in the vast expanse of space-time, Synergy watched with growing pride, knowing that the universe was in good hands.